Hi everyone, my name is Addison Huddy. I'm a contributor to Apache Geode and I work at Pivotal. Today this is going to start a series of videos to learn Apache Geode, and we're all going to do it from examples. This is how to get started with those examples. It's going to run through the whole process. I haven't started anything on my machine. This is from zero to getting started with the examples. And then every week I plan to release another one of these videos that will go in increasingly more advanced topics in Apache Geode. So next week it's going to be continuous queries, because that's a fun one and it's a really powerful feature. And after that we'll go into region types and functions and so on and so forth. So today it's all about getting started. Great place to start is the Apache Geode website. We'll come back here in a second because we're going to look at releases. Another great place is the Geode GitHub page. But the best way to learn Apache Geode is through the examples. The Geode community maintains a bunch of examples that just a wonderful way to get your hands dirty on some code and start learning Geode's abstractions and architecture and concepts. So first thing we're going to need is, we could just clone this repo, to be honest, and the Gradle file will pull in Geode server. But I don't think that's the best way to actually learn, because we want to get access to gfish, which is Geode's CLI tool. And it's a better way to understand what's going on. So I'm going to set this up the way I recommend setting up. So the first thing we want to do, let's clone the examples. We're going to need this. So let's just clone this, okay? And we could, once done cloning this and building everything, that could give us everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a version of Geode. I'll grab the latest. So this sounds awesome. Right here, let's grab, okay, this is the version that it's recommending. Let's copy this link. Let's wget this thing, and that should go pretty quick. Yeah, that's going quick. So we're using 1.6. That means that when we're in the examples, we got to use that version too. I'll make sure to point out that step. So let's tar this. We'll unzip it, and awesome. So now we have Apache Geode 1.6, and we have the Geode examples. Sweet. All right, let's split this because we're going to need it, and I'm going to put the Geode examples on the left, and I like putting gfish on the right. So here we go inside of the Geode examples. We're going to open bin, and boom, we have gfish. Now this already assumes you have Java installed. The current version of Geode uses Java 8, and that's what I would recommend having installed before you start this. All right, so let's go inside of Geode examples. The best place to start, I would say, is the put all example. And let's take a look at what this put all example does. I'll pop up here for a second. We'll actually look at this with an editor. And inside of put all, you're going to find source, a readme, and a scripts directory. We're going to go through each one of these in detail. The first place to look at is, let's look at the readme. Readme is pretty simple. So this is going to allow us to put multiple values in one operation. We're going to build the example. We're going to run some scripts, some gfish scripts. They're in the scripts directory. We're going to use Gradle to run the examples, and then we're going to stop the cluster. Pretty simple. Let's take a look at what the scripts do. So this is a gfish script. It's going to use gfish to start a locator. A locator is something inside of Geode that looks at the state of the cluster, knows what servers are available to put data, knows it helps with data locality, and it's the first thing that you want to start up when creating a cluster. We're going to start up a single server, giving it our locator information. We're going to create a region, and it's a replicated region. We'll go over that in more detail in a later episode. But we're going to think about it. If you're coming from a relational world, a region is like a table. It's a way to model your data, and you can model relationships between regions. So we're just going to call this example region, and we're going to list all the members in our cluster. I guess we're going to see the locator, server, and simply just use gfish to describe our region. If we go up to the example, let's look at what's in here. All right, first thing to look at, we have this main function. It is going to do some stuff. The main function, the first thing it's going to do is going to create a cache. That's a local cache that's going to connect to the server cache. We pass in, we're creating a pool, and inside that pool, we're adding our locator. We're creating a local region that matches the region that we have on our server. And we have an example object that takes in the region, and we have some helper methods down here that allow us to simply insert some methods, and another one that takes the values from the ones that we've inserted and prints those out. So let's look at those in more detail. Creates a map of integers and strings that matches our region type, where it takes an integer and a string. We go down here, we're going to put keys, looks like 1, 2, 3, all the way through 10. The values are just value plus whatever that integer is, and we're putting that as a string. And we're using this operation down here, region put all, and then that takes the map of values, the keys and values, because Geode is a key value in memory database. Back here, we're going to get for all the keys. Here, we're going to get the data and then print it out. So let's see what actually happens when we run this, and we'll follow the README in detail. Now, let's go inside the put all example. Let's build this example. Awesome. Example is built. The next step was to use the scripts. So I'm going to give this path to gfish over here. Now, let's do this from outside gfish. That's how I like to do it. So if we do bin gfish, and we'll pass in this script, we're going to say run -- file, and the file is here, scripts start.gfish. Awesome. So that's starting up our locator. Once that process is started, it'll start up our locator. We're going to create that region, and once that's done, we're going to be able to run our example, and we should see some values inputted to standard out, and we can read that on the screen. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Gradle. Awesome. So that's all done. We're going to use Gradle, and we're just going to hit run. So I can get the right directory. Let's run connecting, running put all. Awesome. So we put a bunch of data in here and got it back out. We can do something really cool that's not in the example, just a preview of what's to come. Let's run a query on our data where we can query and we'll pass in our query. We'll select star from example region and see what we get. Oh, there's a critical error. I need to connect to my locator first. Just running that gfish, we're just spinning up that gfish process, but we actually need to use the gfish client, that CLI tool, to connect to the cluster, and now we can run our query, and those are results of the values we put into gfish. I hope you found this interesting. There's going to be a lot more cool examples to come, and I'll see you next week.